sometimes you're told how cool things can be, and hearing it is one thing, but then you play something like Lucky's Tale, and it totally all makes sense. Talking about Lucky's Tale on the Oculus VR, tell me about the concept behind this game and what's exactly happening and how you're making it work in this 3D world.
We are bringing a third-person platformer to VR for the first time. Lucky's Tale is the story of Lucky the Fox and his adventures in the world of VR.
Now, how exactly does that even work? I mean, a 3D world, but I can also move around it. It's like a 4th D kind of thing going on.
I know, it sounds crazy, right? And it was totally not intuitive. I mean, it was not the first idea we thought of. When people think about virtual reality games, they think kind of the typical stuff, a first-person shooter, a space game, a racing game. And we built a lot of prototypes. This is one of the things that popped out of it, and we saw it, was just like shocked by it. Oh my gosh, look at this. This works so well in VR. When we built that prototype, you gotta look and you see the character there in front of you, and you're like, oh, okay, it looks just like a platforming game. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I can see the whole level stretching out ahead of me, and it's just this like eye-opening, like, oh my gosh, this is the only way I ever want to play platformers. So as soon as we had that feeling, we put all our resources into this.
So who is Lucky? Give us a little background on this, who this character is. The tech is cool, but who is the story? Tell us about the game.
Lucky's a fox. He's a little fox, lives in the forest with his family. And the story begins when Lucky is building a hot air balloon with his sister, which he's always doing that. He's always building little stuff. And he turns around and all of a sudden, it takes off without him. And his sister's in it, and he's got to brave the world beyond his backyard for the first time in his life. He kind of ties on his little cape, jumps over the fence, and that's how Lucky's Tale begins.
Is there anything like technologically you guys had to worry about when coming up with this idea, creating this world within that VR space?
Yeah, the biggest thing that we were focused on here is comfort. And that's actually one of the things that pushed us away from some of the first-person experiences in VR, because they're cool, but some of them can be a little bit uncomfortable. And when we found this third-person idea, we just seized on it. We said, oh my gosh, this is comfortable. I can actually explore a full 3D world and look around, and I don't ever feel sick to my stomach or anything like that. It just works really well. For us to make that work, we needed to really focus on the camera and how the camera moves. I don't know if you noticed the world itself, it's not scaled like a real world. Trees are not actually the size of trees. We've scaled everything down so it's more like a model train set or something. And the feeling we're trying to get across there is like your little toys have come to life and you're inside one of your toys.
And so are there any things you're looking forward to trying that you couldn't actually do in a 3D world like this before?
The things I'm most excited about are these moments of gameplay, these mechanics that we have that are VR only, that you could just never experience unless you were playing in VR. So you saw one of those moments in the game where you pick up a bomb, and Lucky is holding it over his head, but he's waiting for you to tell him what to do. And all you have to do is just look at where you want him to throw it, and he'll throw it over there. And so it's like, you feel this cooperation, this connection to the character that you could just never experience on the TV, only in VR.